You're a dick.
What's happening, YouTube? My name's Immortal Coil. Today, we're talking the Wolverine.
We're all familiar with the fact that Disney puts out news stories, and I say that in air quotes, to test public perceptions about different ideas that the creative group is throwing around. It shouldn't be surprising. We saw that all through Star Wars, we saw that through Endgame, we saw that with Carol Danvers, blah blah dee blah. Now we're seeing a group of Wolverwannabes, which to me is lackluster. First, we have Henry Radcliffe, Harry Potter. Alright, now this was a joke. He got tossed a question and he didn't deny it, but he didn't confirm it. He thought it was funny. The internet did not, and roasted him. Then we have Dacre Montgomery, who is famous from Stranger Things. Kind of skinny, tried to pull off the tough guy thing. These two previous actors looked too girly for me. They didn't have the manly presence that a character like Wolverine deserves. Go more into that later. Then we got the backlash. We got somebody really silly saying, oh, well, Wolverine's short, let's make him Danny DeVito. Dude, that would be fucking funny. That would go well on Saturday Night Live, but I don't think that would go well on Marvel Cinematic Universe. The latest rumor that I heard was Henry Cavill, who first played Superman. You can argue about the writing and the direction and the filmography and the blah 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 blah. He was also in The Witcher, which I think is a better series for him, or at least it was better produced or better written. In The Witcher, he pulls off that sort of detached, brooding, gravelly voiced killer. So, of the above options, yeah. But what would Wolverine even look like in the MCU G4? From what I hear, writers at Marvel hate the word X-Men because it says men. They want them to be X-people or mutants. Indeed, mutants was the thing that Iger and Feige was talking about at the G4 fucking summit. But then we look at the ideas that have been floated out in comics recently. So what? Wolverine is living with Jean and Scott in an apartment or in an abode. And not only are they all living together, but they have a unconventional relationship. Jean is free to go back and forth between the two men who are perfectly happy and willing to accept this arrangement. And apparently, according to this news article, Wolverine actually has two dicks. One to fuck with and one to create children with. Or maybe it's one for Scott and one for Jean. Or maybe it's both for Jean when Scott's out shooting lasers out of his face. Now this is all horse shit. If you were smart, Marvel's Cinematic Universe, you would introduce the G4 version of Wolverine as a horror character. Let me explain. In this recent article, we get this idea, which I have vocally been supportive of on this channel, that the sequel movie to Captain Marvel should feature Rogue as a perceived bad guy who comes in, fucks up Carol Danvers, and drains her to the point where she is in a apoplectic coma. She is trapped in her own body. She might somehow halfway psychically experience Rogue's adventures with her own power, but she is Basically like this guy in the Metallica 1 video. That's how we first meet mutants, because they need to be feared and hated by the very people that they are trying to protect. But this is our first exposure, and the new generation's first exposure. Follow me. This other article says that, ooh, they're this much closer to casting She-Hulk. Now, She-Hulk cannot be casted or properly introduced without Hulk, Bruce Banner, this motherfucker. And during the expository, like, here's your powers, here's what you can do, here's what you should do, here's what happened with Thanos, here's what... They are being stalked by a dark figure whose face we don't even see. We hear the snikt, we see blood, we might get inklings that he was sent by Department H, Canada's Department of Security. And if you want to know how I'm thinking about this, I would totally rip off Riddick, Pitch Black. Wolverine should be used in the same way that they used Richard H. Riddick in Pitch Black, as they should in this new Hulk movie. Let's travel back through time. Wolverine's 1970s introduction, he was sent after He-Hulk and dealt some surprising damage. And their fight was interrupted by a separate beast called the Wendigo, which they had to team together to overcome. Similarly, Riddick in Pitch Black was a escaped convict who was tied down and very much against the main crew of the good guys of that movie until this outside threat by alien beasts forced them all to work together. Now, the beauty of this movie is that Riddick almost fucked them off and took off, but his own twisted sense of honor or nobility or admiration for the fight, this could be what Wolverine is. And I really think he should have some version of the Wolverine armor, but it shouldn't be like bright and shiny and like under lights. It should be very dark, and you should see him from the shadows, from the top, from underneath, from the side, where only like a very thin slice of light suggests his character. The rest is blood. Now, obviously, Marvel Studios is not going to choose me to be Wolverine. Rookie Critic did, but that's on his channel. If I had my picks, I'd pick one of three men. I'd pick Eric Bana. You might remember him from Troy. I'd pick Carl Urban. You might remember him from Chronicles of Riddick. I might pick Gerard Butler. You might remember him from 300. These are testosterone-fueled men with great physiques, with great acting talent, with great accolades. But mainly because if you don't know this movie, then you don't know Chris Claremont, and you don't know the inspiration behind the modern iteration of Wolverine.
So, there you have it. My thoughts on the Wolverine. My name's Immortal Coil. Like, share, subscribe. Drop me a line. Let me know what you want to see covered on future editions of Savage Spirituality. Check out my brothers and sisters in the Fandom Menace. We're a group of channels dedicated to calling out the bullshit that passes as entertainment in 2020. Together, you and I can turn around this entire shit show. And remember, I'm Canadian.